Cold brew got me like.
Hello, welcome to Cold Brew Got Me Like, where all your dreams come true. If your dreams are YouTube videos. If you are listening to this as a podcast on, I don't know, I was about to say Huffington Post, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything else, or if you're listening on our OG host, Spreaker, then you can find the videos that we're discussing in this program on my Twitter, at The Crofton Show, in the pinned tweet. So that's right. If you're listening to this as a podcast, just audio, you can go to my Twitter, at The Crofton Show, and the pinned tweet will contain links to the videos that we're going to watch today. If you're watching this on YouTube, which the channel is Cold Brew Got Me Like, and the name of the podcast is Cold Brew Got Me Like, and the name of this TV show is Cold Brew Got Me Like. But if you're listening as a podcast, if you're watching YouTube, follow YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, send canaries to us through YouTube, whatever is clever. And then if you are listening to it right now on Twitch TV, then welcome. You are here on a Tuesday, where we do the show on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 fucking Central, 9:30 Eastern. You know, someone told me when I put up 6:30 Pacific that I should put up all the other times, as if.
Well, it makes you feel like you're included, right?
Is that why? I just thought it was like simply like I don't have time to add 1 hour to 6 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I got the feeling they were just like, listen, you know, with the amount of content out there, you got to tell me exactly where I need to be.
Well, there could be
like 6:30 Pacific means 8:30 Central, but that's too much for Gen Z. I'm just kidding. I'm not mad at Gen Z. I found out Gen Z are hard workers. They just have no opportunity. This whole narrative that millennials are lazy and Gen Z are lazy, which I participated in a little bit. Like I thought maybe that was true or maybe that was funny. It turns out they are hard workers. They just have no work to do.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about when you're a young person, you go through a lot of emotional turmoil in your 20s. And, you know, trying to figure out what you want to be and stuff. But like, when we were growing up, it was like, should I be president of the United States or a famous artist, or should I be a deep sea scuba diver? And now it's like,
hey, Chris, what about motorcycle daredevil? You could be a motorcycle daredevil if you wanted to be.
Are you chiming in? Are you speaking on the podcast? Were you speaking before when you said that they should follow the YouTube, or was that off?
That's the only time I've spoken on the podcast so far, Chris.
Wow. Can you hit the Cold Brew Got Me Like button on yourself?
Yeah, Cold Brew got me like.
I'm going away. I'm going away now for good. Forever.
I don't know what he even said. I have no idea what's happened. What happened? What did Eric say to do?
He said that being a daredevil is also a viable career option.
All right, that's not true. In 1978, there were three career options in 1978. Courtroom sketch artist, Harlem Globetrotter, and motorcycle daredevil.
Detective, maybe.
Private detective. Ornery, middle-aged private detective. And for some reason, you get to live in like a cool trailer by the beach. Just like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon and James Garner in Rockford Files. They both lived in badass trailers by the beach, and that was supposed to be down and out. Like I don't know. Anyway, it was not clear. I mean, it's a TV show, so that's why that happened. Because in reality, if you're like a loose cannon on the police force, you don't get to live on the beach. You probably end up being a drug smuggler or something. So anyway,
most professions were found on television, basically.
Well, no, I just mean that none of those jobs are available anymore. I mean, I guess you could be a courtroom sketch artist, but I'm sure you have to know somebody to become the courtroom sketch artist. I'm sure you have to be someone's cousin. So I would like to, if anyone knows, and the power directors or the Gimlins here in the chat, if anyone here knows how you can become a courtroom sketch artist, if there's some grassroots way to do it, or it's always like you have to have some uncle that you got busted for spray painting walls too many times, so they make you a courtroom sketch artist to keep you out of trouble. And also, why the fuck do we need courtroom sketch artists ever? Anytime. Why did they ever exist? It never looks like anything like the courtroom, and nobody cares anyway. We don't have sketches for every other thing we can't see. How come there's not like, it's not like always on the news every time we can't see something, they put sketches up. I'm really interested in that. I think that would be a whole separate podcast, though. That'd be like an 8-parter on Wondery. Or, one of those places, one of those kind of podcasts, like, they could do 8 parts on how the courtroom sketch artist thing works. And there'd be a bunch of people talking on the podcast under condition of anonymity. They'd be like, I got my job as a courtroom sketch artist. I got caught spray painting a bunch of walls. I knew it. And my uncle was the chief of police, so he got me a job as a courtroom sketch artist. And the people who are like, listen, you're going to hire my nephew as a courtroom sketch artist. He keeps shoplifting and he needs a job. Wait, we don't even have a courtroom sketch artist. Why do we need one of those? What are you, crazy? They have videos. Everybody's got a camera on their phone. No. We're going to have one, and it's going to be my nephew. Oh. Anyway, do they do sketches of like UFC fights that are blacked out? Like they say, like, here's the.
They should.
Where's a light bulb at ringside? No, that's Joe Rogan.
Oh,
a sweaty light bulb with veins on it. Oh no, that's Joe Rogan. Courtroom sketch artist version.
He looks really stoned.
UFC sketch artist. So how's everybody doing in the chat over there?
I can't see the chat myself.
Oh, Gem City Record Collector is I can't read it either.
Oh, there it is. What was your favorite job you had as a young whippersnapper, Chris? Tank Feast asks.
My favorite job? I guess landscaping until I backed the truck up into another truck, and then my own boss threatened to sue me. I liked that job for a while. I liked.
How bad was the damage?
Well, I got in a dump truck, and it was like a proper dump truck. Like they have a solid bed, and you can't see through the back window at all. And instead of like telling somebody that I couldn't see, I decided it would be a power move to just do it.
You didn't know you had to look at the mirrors on the side?
Well, I tried. No, I couldn't see behind it. But I was just like, I think I'm going to seem like more of a loser if I say I can't see than if I just chance it. What are the chances that a car is behind me? Like, there wasn't one when I got in the truck. So it's got 50-50 or something. Those are pretty good odds. And I backed up and ran into a car.
That's pretty
directly. Yeah. And then my boss was like, well, have fun working that off for the rest of the summer. Which was not true. They had insurance. They were just mad and saying stuff like that. And I thought it was true.
Is that how you ended up painting the building?
That's how I ended up in the witness protection program.
Oh.
No, that was a different job where I painted my boss's house. But I guess my favorite job was probably working at the supermarket when I was 16 because I could get free beer because I stole beer. Like it was a pipeline to beer. And I liked working at the supermarket for a while. And then I worked too many years there, and then I didn't like it anymore. But yeah, I'd say working at the supermarket as a checkout person. Back when you had to hit the buttons, not scan.
Yeah, I got a job there as well for summer.
Yeah, so probably supermarkets because you can steal beer. At least back then you could. There were no cameras in the ceiling or anything. You just, like, if you got it, you got it. Free and clear. If you made it out the door with that beer, it was your beer.
Mark Kappelbaum says, I'm sure that wasn't the only time you backed a company truck into something.
Oh, fuck. That's my fucking... That Mark Applebaum is... First of all, Mark Applebaum, he's my boss at the wine bar where I work. and I backed the truck up. I backed the van at the wine bar up into something. God damn it. What are the chances of that? I've never discussed the fact that I backed a truck. I have never told that story in my whole life. And there's the one time there's a man who knows about another truck I backed things into. What if my insurance company's got an algorithm on this thing?
All right, you've gone too far with the algorithms. They're not that good.
You don't think that's true? You don't think that's good enough? They're going to raise my rates just because of talking on this.
Oh, what a horrible future. I don't want to live in that future.
I know. They're going to be like, your rates just went up because who's Mark Applebaum? They're like, oh, it's his boss. That must be the truck at work.
They're like, you're friends with Mark. You're much more of a risk.
Fun fact. Okay, fun fact about Mark Applebaum. What was last week's show? What did we do last week? Oh, the jumping guy, Super Joe Reed. So didn't I called something Mark Applebaum. I was saying his real name was Mark Applebaum. I was using your name, Mark. Anyway, who cares? Nice to see you, Mark. Thanks for reminding me that I wrecked the truck at work too. I didn't wreck it, but I backed up into a railing. But I mean, this made me look terrible. Can I borrow everyone in the Power Director chat's car sometime? Promise I won't wreck it. So now no one's going to let me use their car because of this show.
No, don't worry about it.
I'd like to worry. Hey, look, who else is there? Who else is in there? Oh, look, James Eric Wilson's undercover in our own chat.
We'll take him.
That's the guy who's in charge of that's the man who he's trying to talk today, no matter what. He tried to talk out loud and I humiliated him, and now he's coming in through the chat. Shit about me?
He's gotten a hold of some cold brew somehow.
Chris is bossy. I was like, Chris is bossy and mean.
Cold brew got me like.
What does comment say? Chris's insurance algorithm robots have decided the viewers of the show. Oh, disabled. Oh, double.
Double.
Oh shit, he is. He's doing some low self-esteem. He's talking down the show in the chat. Well, that sounds right to me. Thanks.
James Bruss says 97 Kia Cephia. It's all yours. Not sure what that means.
That's the kind of car.
No, I know.
1997. That's my kind of car.
Did you just say you needed a car?
I like taking cars like that off-roading. Anyway, you haven't lived till you've tried to take a Kia up into the mountains. Like a Kia Cephia. Up a dry wash. You guys know what washes are? Who cares? Let's do the first video.
You gotta make sure the muffler doesn't hit any of the rocks.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna watch a little bit of Family Feud from I think, 1990 or something, when it was country music stars against. It was like a special event Family Feud where it was country country musicians against Western television and movie stars. And we'll maybe skim through this. There's one part I really like. So this is Family Feud with a bunch of musicians on one side and actors on the other. So let's watch a little bit.
Special featuring 5 of TV and film's most famous heroes of the Old West. Ready for action. Playing against 5 tuneful stars from the Grand Ole Opry. On your marks. Let's start the Cowboy versus Country Family Feud Special. With the star of Family Feud, Richard.
Okay, let's skip ahead because this is endless. He kisses.
What do you mean? That's Richard Dawson.
I know, but he's going to kiss everybody in the building first.
Playing for day 5. Both teams have won 2 days. Country team playing for the Grand Ole Opry Trust Fund won 11,194.
Okay, so for people watching at home, we got a Family Feud going here with country musicians against people from like Gunsmoke.
Chance to win $10,000. Help me welcome my friends, the Cowboys.
And now he's going to kiss everybody. Let's skip to the first time they slap the buzzers. Look at those guys. Oh, look, it's Ricky Skaggs.
He's still alive, I think.
Oh yeah, he's still rubbing down the mandolins.
He'll never die, that guy.
That guy's he's touching a mandolin all day long. I don't know who these other people are, but let's get to when they slept. But there we go.
100 people surveyed, top 7 answers on the board. You got to try and get the most popular answer. Here's the question. What was Trigger's real name? Dennis never falls for any of those.
He almost did. You know,
I know, he almost did.
No, there was a fly got in my face.
Oscar, by the way, it's a little trivia. Here's the question. Name something people put under a pillow.
A case. Pillowcase.
Pillowcase.
What?
What do people put under a pillow, Dennis?
Well, they put, if you lose your teeth, you put a penny or a nickel. I used to.
All right, a coin. Play or pass?
Oh, we're going to play.
Penny or a nickel.
No more double
That's a
How
long
old
time
were
ago.
you grow up? Fucking Charles Dickens, England?
All right. A little down, I think. Here we go. What do people put under a pillow?
Amanda Blake from Gunsmoke, for those watching at home or listening at home. What did she guess? What'd she guess?
Gun.
A gun.
You should have warned me about this.
Yes.
I mean, this is the, what do you think? Is this late 80s, you think, or early 90s? I think it's early 90s.
Late 80s, I would say.
Okay.
A tooth.
So people were still putting guns under pillows then? Do people still keep guns under pillows?
Now for something completely different.
Yeah.
Power directors, people in the chat, Gimlins, anybody here, anybody in that chat room keep guns under their
I
pillow?
know who you are. My name you.
William Burroughs used to keep a gun under his pillow.
William Burroughs did?
Yep.
Are you sure it wasn't on the nightstand? I mean, that is the answer I would give for things that might be on a psychopath's nightstand. Not like, what would you put under a pillow? I would think like, I don't know what, I guess I would guess teeth, and that'd be the end of it.
Cross.
Who's this guy?
Cross.
I would guess gun. Just because there's nothing else to say.
You would guess gun? All right.
Yeah, who was that? Was that RJ?
Nice to see you, Pat.
You mean JR?
No, the RJ, Robert Wagner.
No, I don't know, but I think it's funny that these are all the actors and they still, like they think, I think it's funny that actors who play Western people they end up thinking they are cowboys.
It's a speaker thing that you put. Gotcha.
All right, let's skip ahead. Do you want to skip ahead? I mean, I don't know. I think.
Well, we're trying to get to one part, right?
Yeah, I want to get to the part where they ask, what is something you sit up in bed to do?
Drink water.
Drink.
This lady's in love with Richard Dawson. I watched the whole episode. She's like, oh, she's so excited about Richard Dawson.
I bet they got together after the show.
Probably. Plus, they have drinks before these shows to make them more fun. All these people are half drunk.
That's who I thought was Robert Wagner. It's not Robert Wagner.
No, that's I have no idea who that is. But I looked him up. He has an interesting background. I can't remember his name though, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go.
You sit up in bed to do.
Exercise.
Something you sit up in bed to do, he says exercise.
Country folks, get ready to steal.
It's a hard game.
Not that. Now, you got to be correct now, otherwise they play for $10,000. Something you sit up in bed to do.
Smoke.
Smoke in bed is dumb, but if it's there, the game goes on. Smoke.
All right, here we go. The reason I put this on, the reason I wanted this to be on the show is because, could you pause it? Could you pause it,
It's at a different time.
Well, that's the thing, is it wasn't that different a time. Like, it's because these people are from Nashville. Greg lives in Nashville right now. I lived in Nashville for 13 years. People were still allowed to smoke in the state legislature until like the year 2000. So I just think it's so funny that country musicians come up with smoke And it's not on there. Of course it's not, because it's the late 80s. But in Nashville, everybody's like, I'm surprised that wasn't on there. Like, even now, people are like, it seems like a reasonable answer. Like, Nashville is just, it's heavily invested in the myths of drinking and smoking associated with outlaw country and all that nonsense. And so, of course, they think everybody smokes in bed in 1988.
Hey, Chris, I'm in Nashville, and I am surprised. I was surprised that it wasn't on there. Legitimately surprised.
Are you talking again? That was out loud? Okay, you need a bell or something that says you're talking.
If I address you, then I'm
okay.
I'm live. That's our new rule. We got a new rule.
Okay, that's new. I like. Okay, yeah, I'm surprised people aren't things. I don't want to make it. It's not. I'm not going to say it. But I'm just saying it's not the only. I'm surprised they don't say in Nashville. Something is something that you sit up in bed to do. They'll be like, drink and drive. That doesn't even make sense. They're like, oh shit. Well, okay.
Well, smoking is, you got to be a cowboy if you smoke, or you got to smoke if you're a cowboy. And if you're a cowboy, you might make some country music, and then you can make lots of money.
Right, and then your friends will like peer pressure you into smoking in bed in 1988. They'll be like, "You don't smoke in bed? What are you doing there?" Thought you were a cowboy. What, does your wife not let you?
Did you try that new slide I just had installed in my in-ground pool yet?
It's got an ashtray on it. I mean, I went into. They had ashtrays everywhere in Nashville when I moved there. I moved there in 2001, and there were ashtrays everywhere. There were ashtrays at the adult video store, like on every wall. Now, don't ask me why.
Those were better times.
I just couldn't believe there were people smoking, looking around for which videotape they wanted to have sex with. What's the chat? What's going on in the chat?
There was so much more pleasure back then.
Yeah, it was. You could relax and smoke a cigarette while you looked for a 6-hour cum shot compilation.
Well, you know why you could? Because you had plenty of insurance. You weren't worried.
What do you mean we had plenty of insurance?
Like, you probably had good health insurance. Now you can't do anything. You can't go to the doctor. There's no safety net.
Oh, that's true. If you had a job, you had like a company car, and you got like you get hooked up to an iron lung. If you got
what's the big deal? I'll go in with those tents.
That's true. So you can't have any fun without the middle class, without the benefits of a job, with the disappearance of the middle class. Basically, you can't smoke anywhere, and you can't have any fun anymore. You can't even smoke when you're browsing pornography.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as browsing pornography anymore. Anyway, it's all on your phone. Times Square is in your phone. I used to have to go to Times Square and like skulk around looking for which video I wanted to have sex with.
Cold
I just
Brew
love
got
that.
me like.
There's no way to make small talk in the adult section of a video store. Like, you're in there with another dude. You can never be like, hey, how are you?
People don't even know what you're talking about.
What do you mean? Because they're so in the zone?
Well, no I haven't been in a X-rated video store in years.
Oh, really? I just stopped going like 3 weeks ago. I just found out about there's porn on your phone if you hit the right buttons. Let's check in with the Gimlins, the power directors. What do we got going on in there?
I can't see it.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Can you read it now? I thought you'd have it on a separate.
I tried. It's not feeding through for some reason.
This is where I made small talk in the porn section before, says Miss Happy Sunshine. Well, where? You send me a letter. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and we'll have a conversation about that. I don't believe that.
Kitten Chop says today it would be sit up in bed to shoot an intruder.
Yeah, you're right. That's good. That's good. Kitten Chops, you're correct. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Yes, it's like, what reason you would sit up in bed? To stand your ground. That's why I would sit up in bed.
Joe Bain says, who else is on Team Country?
Why'd you shoot your wife? Because I was standing my ground. She got on my side of the bed. I was standing my ground. You shot your wife. I don't know. You can't be too careful. She could be Al Qaeda.
Tia and Toby 4K. Pretty sure every Nashville high school still had a smoking patio in 1990.
Oh, we had those in Connecticut too. Yeah, but I'm surprised they didn't have them until 2004 in Nashville. Only till 90, Toby? That's interesting. That's Toby Leonard. Nice to see Toby in the chat.
Miss Happy Sunshine said, I've made small talk in the porn section before.
Right, but what? About what? Because, all right, I've been in there. I don't know. Okay, this might not be relatable. I don't know what the average age. People have no idea what a video store even is, probably, if they're. But I think most of our fans are kind of pretty old, probably. Just because they're. Otherwise, if you're a kid, I mean, as we've talked about, if you were trying to watch people play Mario Kart and then you took a wrong turn on Twitch and all of a sudden you were watching Country Music Family Feud, I think you'd probably be, you'd probably turn the channel. So I doubt there's a lot of people that are too young, but I think that, hey, Joe Bain Colvert, I think that I'll explain it to you real quick. Okay. So you go to a video store to rent a video up until people know about these till the late 90s, early 2000s even. Yeah. Early 2000s. There was still Blockbuster. So if you went to a smaller independent video store, there's another room, a lot of times with saloon doors, swinging saloon doors, and behind those doors were the adult videos, and you go in there and you pick out which videotape you're going to have sex with, and it's a very awkward place to be. I mean, there could be somebody in there who's getting a video to watch with their partner, but I was 17 years old, so I was just getting one to have sex with the video, not with a person. So anyway, usually it was kind of a sweaty upper lip kind of vibe in there. It was you and another dude, or maybe a couple other dudes, but no one spoke. It wasn't like the delicatessen. You couldn't be like, hey, what sandwich are you going to get? You couldn't be like, what's your favorite kind of videotape to have sex with? You can't say that. So anyway, I just always like the idea of trying to break the ice in that scenario. Hey, you going to watch this by yourself, or do you have someone to have sex with? Oh, I should be quiet or I'm going to get murdered? Okay. Hey, when you get home with this videotape, are you going to have sex with it by yourself, or are you going to fuck it with someone else? Back off? Okay. That's not what I was at. Okay.
Cold Brew got me
You single, or do you have a good sex life already and you just like these also, or
I seem to remember that background noise is not me, by the way. I just had my mic off. I remember being in some porn sections that were under construction too. That's always disconcerting.
What do you mean under construction? There's a person drilling in there who's not associated with the perverts?
I think I remember it was I don't know, just the walls weren't finished yet and guys were still looking through the porn like it was already finished. It didn't really matter that the walls.
Are you talking about a Critics' Choice?
Yeah, was that it?
I don't know. Critics' Choice was the video store that me and Greg both went to when we were younger. And Critics' Choice had a hell of a porn section. In fact, Critics' Choice video, if you went in there in the front, you'd be like, this place sucks. You'd be like, what? You only got you don't have very many movies. Hey, do you have the latest? Do you have Titanic? And they're like, no, we don't have that. We're waiting on that. And then you go into the fucking porn section and it's it's Acapulco. I mean, it's it's just that there's a band in there. It's they had binders full of they had so much porn, and that's why the guy looked so sketchy behind the counter. He was always kind of sweaty, and remember he smoked?
Yes, Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne. Yeah, and he had a
cool haircut. He had a big comb. He would comb his hair out on the sides.
Yeah.
Totally cool hairstyle.
Right. It was one of those things where it's cool or sex offender.
I mean, he was straight out of the 70s, and it was 1987.
Yeah, which meant sex maniac.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be straight out of the 70s means sex maniac. I have the sexual attitude of a 1970s person, but it's 1990. Okay, so you're a psychopath. Yeah.
Well,
So
I run the video store mainly for cash. It generates
he
a lot
was
of
a strange.
cash.
We'll do a whole show about we'll do a whole show about Wayne because we should, because it was like a very scary. He let me rent videos underage, and it was like an eye contact thing. I was like, I walked up to the counter and I'd be like, I walk up to the counter and be like, the porn room was like to the right, and I'd kind of look at him, and then he kind of like would be like, and then I'd be like, go in there, he's like, he gave me like facial signals like, I'm not gonna bust you. And then when we came in,
he'd be like, I know what you want. Go ahead.
And he's like, go ahead. It's healthy.
Yeah.
You want me to come in there and help you pick? No, I'm good.
But then the next time we'd come in with my mom, and then he wouldn't be giving those.
And he wouldn't be like, hey, your kid just rented like the porn Olympics.
Anyway,
your kid just got Edward Penis hands.
Oh no.
That was a real movie.
James Eric Wilson just said porno Wayne.
Yeah, if you guys in the power directors like this kind of talk, if you'd like us to shift subjects and show more videos, you can vote on that on my Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/Chris Crofton. Go in there and tell me what's what. And
James Bruss said, I used to rent Bloodsport on VHS, full screen. Lots of cold brew in that movie.
I believe you.
Yeah,
I believe you.
That's pure
Russ.
cold brew. Who's in Bloodsport? Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? Go snap your neck after drinking some cold brew.
I can't remember. Yeah, he's the kind of guy he's really short, like really short. He could do an ad for cold brew. If I had a cold brew company, I would advertise with him, and he would say, cold brew makes me taller.
That was a good one. Yeah, I saw Tom Cruise on doing a scene with Meryl Streep the other day, and it just made me think of cold brew and short men.
Meryl Streep seems kind of normal to me. I feel like her and Tom Cruise would be an uncomfortable match scene.
Well, she was the reporter and he was the senator pitching more troops in Afghanistan.
What movie was that? The Pelican Brief?
Lions for Lambs, directed by Robert Redford.
I like to pretend everything's the Pelican Brief. It's like
deep into the pandemic Amazon Prime catalog. It's horrible.
I did a tweet. Hey, listen to this, you guys. I did a tweet where I said that I got confused and I thought the Pelican Brief was Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I got tased for throwing toilet paper. Get it? It's not that good. But like if you think the Pelican Brief is like a crowd participation movie, although I think that'd be kind of fun if it was.
Hey, have you heard about this thing where
you guys can also vote on whether I should talk about my tweets more on the show, and I have a feeling how that vote's gonna go.
Hey, listen, pelicans there's a whole new twist in Tennessee about pelicans. Speaking of Tennessee, 2 people I know in Tennessee have lost their koi fish from pelicans landing in their backyard and eating all the goldfish out of their koi ponds.
Can you hit that heavy metal cold brew got me like sound?
Cold brew got me like.
That's
right.
That's some Tennessee shit right there.
That's some cold brew pelicans. And it's also like the whoever's the person, the wife or the husband, like the wife's outside and she's like, a pelican just stole our koi fish. And the husband's like, cold brew got me like. She's like, would you stop saying that? Is that from that stupid idiot's Instagram? Stop saying cold brew got me like. Yeah, he's like, but you got to admit, that's pretty cold brew. A pelican stealing some koi fish? That's fucking cold brew as shit. Stop saying it, or I'll make you get rid of Instagram. How do you get rid of that thing?
And then they look over and the pelican's still flying away with the fish in its mouth. And she's like, why don't you do something about that damn pelican? He's still got the fish.
Yeah, and he winks. And the pelican winks. He's going away. Wait, whose pelican is it though? Fucking Tennessee's not a tropical state.
No, there's pelicans here. I don't think it's a proper term though.
What do they call it? Like street pelicans? What are they? Fucking strip mall pelicans? What kind of pelicans do we have in
No,
Tennessee?
blue herons. They're herons. That's right. They're herons. They're herons. And
They're renegade blue herons, like masquerading
I've
as
seen a
fucking
blue.
pelicans?
I've seen a heron in Tennessee.
They call blue herons pelicans in Tennessee.
No, I just.
I like
mean,
that. No,
you know,
that's kind of like because they call they call a hose in Tennessee. They call a hose pipe, and they call a pen an ink pen, and they call a car accident that when someone gets hurt an injury wreck. So it wouldn't be surprised me if they call blue herons pelicans.
Well, I thought pelican. You got the sense of the gullet more than if you talk about a heron.
When I moved from the Northeast to Nashville and I first heard the people on the news say there was an injury wreck, that's when I knew I was home.
That's when you knew you were a fish out of water.
That's when I knew I was a koi fish in a street pelican. All right. So listen, next week we'll talk more. I feel like I'd really like to talk a lot about Wayne, who worked at the video store, but I feel like maybe we should move on for the sake of the Power Directors chat room has ground to a fucking halt.
Yeah, for the sake of our female fans who aren't interested in the least.
But that's not true. What do you think? Female fans? I know for a fact that Miss Happy Sunshine is a female fan. What is that? What's going on in there? Hold on. James Eric Wilson, depends which section you are browsing. There's your problem. You're a dude. We missed some good stuff in there. Oh, okay. So Miss Happy Sunshine saying, yeah, girls go to the porn video store, but I mean, no one goes to the video store anyway now. But I never saw any women in the video store when I was there. But that's because it wasn't a very female-friendly vibe at that video store. I mean, that video store felt exclusively like psychopath men kind of vibe. There were probably friendlier video stores in the world for women to go get porn. If you go to the Hustler store, for example, there are a lot of women shopping for porn.
The ladies I hang out with don't like porn.
Is that true?
That's
a whole separate topic because I do think that women.
One time, and I thought, oh, this chick's so cool. She's so cool. I'm gonna have her over, and like we're gonna have the guys over, and then I like put a porn tape in as a joke. She like left immediately.
Just tell me that was a long time ago. Well, it wasn't recently, was?
No. I mean, I think I was trying to show her, like, it was back when, you know, it was John Holmes was a novelty and you wanted to shock women with John Holmes.
Well, I mean, I don't think that any time at a party, I think that a party.
It wasn't a party. It was not a party. It was after a day at work and I was like, all right, let's go. I don't know. Somehow we ended up in my house.
Were you drinking?
I don't remember. No, I don't think so.
Okay, so if anyone wants to hang out with Greg sober, he does a thing where it's called porn shock, and it's like a party trick, and it's a test, and it's a test to see if you're uptight or not. And so we'll talk about that next show also. So
Cold brew got me like.
Oh shit. I think
the end of that story was actually there was a fascination because I left out of town when actually my girlfriend lived with me at the time, and I left and I came back from Christmas break and I found the John Holmes porn tape in my VCR, and I had not left that in the VCR, and so she had shown her sister John Holmes. Okay,
so in the end, what's your conclusion?
My grand experiment and come to a conclusion. That's all. I'll never do that stuff again, and I didn't learn that much, but I learned something.
I'll never do that again, and I didn't learn that much. Oh boy!
Be careful with your John Holmes experiment.
Yeah,
they have to be highly controlled, which I was not doing.
Yeah, I think like growing up where we grew up in Connecticut and anyway, it's a long story, but
All right, this is a perfect segue for the wild world of sports. Wide world of sports, sorry.
okay, well
Right? Are you with me?
I'm with you. I'm just still
Men in Speedos.
I'm still having a good
dropping
time.
170
Still having a
feet
good
in
time
pools
thinking
of
about
water.
trying to understand, figure out this porno test. But all right, did you have like a clipboard out like during it? Were you wearing a lab coat? Okay, so listen, we're gonna go now. We're gonna go to
we're gonna go on with the
wide
porn
world
thing.
of sports.
I blame you.
You blame me?
I discovered porn because I discovered your pornography.
All right, now we're going somewhere.
So I got sucked into this porn test.
I was
brother.
super into porn. I was, and Greg was my younger brother. So this is ultimately my fault. I mean, the only thing is, I was showing John Holmes videos to squirrels and things in the yard. But he learned from watching me. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, now.
And I smoked because of you too.
I know you smoked. I know. I'm sure. I don't even want to think about the laundry list. I mean, I made you help me bury that body that one time. So
we went skiing on a ski trip. We packed a case of beer and some porn.
No, I rented porn on the ski trip.
Oh, okay.
Which I felt terrible about, even in retrospect. I was so horny I couldn't fucking not rent porn on a goddamn ski trip. Like, yeah, skiing's good, but I'm gonna go to the drugstore. I was fucking horny as shit back then. Anyway, I really was. And I was like, I thought I was never gonna get a girlfriend. So I was like, basically like, I guess it's just me and porn here on out. I feel it's all right.
Gem City record collectors laying it down, really unearthing some family trauma this weekend. Cold Brew got me like, you got that right.
The new name of the show is Group Therapy. Okay, so this is one of my favorite videos ever.
Somersaults on a safe entry.
James
All right,
Brust
let's stop it right there. It's beautiful.
Mohawk
right there.
Mountain! Exclamation!
Oh my God, what does James Brust know about Mohawk Mountain?
Maybe that's David Crofton. Who knows?
Oh, maybe it is Mohawk Mountain. Me and Greg used to drive up to Mohawk Mountain in my Chevy Sprint. It wasn't even mine. I mean, it was like it was the car I used. Anyway, it was a Chevy Sprint. It was a 3-cylinder car. But it was a kind of a nice looking car. It looked like a Chevette, but it was kind of like a step down from a Chevette. But we drove to Mohawk Mountain I remember listening to Mr. Mister. I was really into that song. Kyrie Eleisa, down the road that I must travel. Kyrie Eleisa. Anyway, people are really, I'm surprised the power directors are still here. After that, I should not have sung that. Okay.
That was the peak of that hit, though. That was
a big hit.
You had like a $500 stereo in your car
that I begged mom and dad for.
A Pioneer. Anyway, let's get outside. Let's go into the high flying world of wide world of sports.
Okay, how's everybody doing in the chat? I don't know why I keep asking that.
They need some entertainment.
Okay, here. Oh my God. Oh fuck. Okay. So all right, here's something that's going on the screen. You see that guy up there? Like, it looks like he just jumped off the Empire State Building. Well, technically, if you didn't enter the water correctly in this high dive challenge, you would die. You're jumping from 172 feet, which is 17 stories high. So if you jump off a 17-story building into a swimming pool, you're going to die unless you know how to enter it right. You'll break every bone in your fucking body. So this high dive challenge was never done again because everybody involved in this contest had to break the world record. 172 feet was higher than the world record at the time. So to be in the competition, you had to set a world record. The world record to this day is only like 174 feet. They never did this again. The next time they had a high dive challenge like this was like 130 feet. Like they dropped it by a lot. This was the craziest thing. And they presented it as a sporting event, but really it's a sideshow. This is a sideshow, as a freak show. This is a death. They were hoping someone would die. And the announcers like try to present it as a real sporting event, but it's really, it's a sideshow. And everybody in it's terrified. Everybody who's doing the dive, except for one psychopath guy, is terrified. He's all right with it because they're all like, they're all freak show divers. They're not like professional divers from the Olympics. They're all people who do the high diving circuit back when there was one, back when carnivals existed. So this is the equivalent of watching like weight guessing.
All right, let me give you a little background on the wide world of sports. It was a creation of Edgar Sherrick through his company Sports Programs, Inc. After selling his company to ABC, he hired a young Roone Arledge to produce the show. And if people know, that guy Roone invented Monday Night Football, among many other things. The series' April 29th, 1961 debut telecast featured both the Penn and Drake relays. Jim McKay, who hosted the program for most of its history, and Jesse Abraham, the track and field writer for the New York Herald Tribune, broadcast from Franklin Field with Bob Richards as a field reporter. Anyway, so I guess the first event was track and field, boring. But it went on. Eventually, in 1961, they were covering bowling later that year. And then by 1964, they covered the Oklahoma Rattlesnake Hunt Championships. So they
it was kind of like there was always a sideshow. There was always kind of a sideshow aspect. Like Wide World of Sports was on every Saturday for like 3 hours, and it was like they said spanning the globe, and it was like
it was incredible.
They would have like proper sports, but then they had like a rattlesnake hunt, or they would have proper sports, and Evel Knievel was on Wide World of Sports. That's where he debuted on Wide World of Sports. So Wide World of Sports would give you a little bit of the bizarre as well. And before the internet, when there were only 13 channels, like anything bizarre was just such a gift, at least to anybody who was interested in weird stuff. You know, it was like seeing pro wrestling for the first time. I was fascinated seeing this kind of shit where you got basically people risking their lives. You know, I don't know, like growing up in Connecticut where we grew up, like being a stockbroker or a doctor or a lawyer were the only things on the menu. I didn't even know anybody risked their lives. Like no one in where I grew up, no one in a wealthy town is going to be a life risker of any sort, unless they're going to like go up Mount Everest when they're like a 75-year-old successful dentist.
And they couldn't fix anything either.
No, they didn't know how to do anything. They wouldn't be risking their lives. They just parade around fucking drinking scotch. And then sometimes they pay like, you know, some Sherpas $1 million to take them up Mount Everest, and they say they did it.
So down in Tennessee, they would smoke, but they would fix everything.
Yeah, I like that. When I moved to Tennessee, I liked Tennessee because people at least were connected to
reality.
We grew up in New Canaan, Connecticut, which is zero reality place.
Anyway, so the Wild World of Sports was on for 37 years. The last one was 1998. And cable event really just killed it. It says the sports became more outlets for sports programming.
Yeah, so just like porn. You could just get whatever you want all the time now. There's no reason to go.
So these guys may have been under duress from Roone Arledge to create a real show. They may have been temp workers, right, Chris?
Who was that?
The divers.
I know for a fact these divers. Oh, okay. It says James Bruss is from Weston, Connecticut. So he knows exactly what what we're talking about.
Oh, cool.
Weston, Connecticut is another wealthy part of that fucking triangle outside New York City where everybody's just money obsessed and fucking doesn't know how to fix anything. And when Greg says doesn't know how to fix anything, he means doesn't know how to fix anything. Like if anything in their house breaks, if a pipe freezes, they have to call somebody. They don't know how to do anything. if the world ended, if their money in their bank, if those decimal points in their bank account didn't count for anything, they'd all be fucked. They don't know how to grow their own food. They don't know how to make sandwiches. They don't know how to do shit.
They don't know how to light
rich
the
people
pilot.
are totally useless.
Yeah.
They don't know how to do anything except for as long as those decimal points keep them, being able to hire handy people. If the handy people said, hey, your money's no good, these people would have frozen pipes. They'd be sitting in their own feces. Thank you.
All right. I got you off track. So
don't get me started about rich people not being able to fix things, because that'll be the whole show and all the rest of the shows.
I was just saying that these, like you said, that we had temp workers as the motorcycle riders. I was thought maybe these divers are temp workers, but it's a more skilled profession than motorcycle jumping.
Motorcycle jumping, yeah. I mean, if you've got a ditch dug for the helicopter, if anyone was tuned in last week, then yes, this was a way of life back then. I mean, you can't make any money doing this anymore. I mean, you can't make money as a traveling high diver. That's like gone with the Harlem Globetrotters. That's part of the carnival economy. The carnival economy left town. Now it's just a service for rich people economy, because there's no middle class. Rich people don't want to see this shit, because rich people are just at the golf club. The people who supported this kind of shit were middle class people. They were the ones who wanted to see people risk their lives, because middle class people didn't have as much to lose. Rich people never want to lose anything. They just want to keep their money and keep their family lineage going and pass their fucking wealth down. But middle class people want to fucking see people jump motorcycles and stuff. But now the middle class is gone. And so there's no one to buy tickets to this kind of shit. And if they want to buy, they watch it all on fucking YouTube anyway. But
James Bruss says a neighbor owns a Gibson Les Paul but can't change the strings.
Exactly. Fuck. Okay. Sorry, but I have to mention this. I went to a zillionaire's house, like a billionaire's house. A billionaire, but he didn't earn the money. His dad did. His dad owned a chain of supermarkets, and I went to his house, and he was walking around in a bathrobe. The house was probably 275,000 square feet. It was a compound. And Liv Tyler was there. I met Liv Tyler because Liv Tyler was like hanging around trying to see if he had a studio built in his house. And so she was going out with a guy from Space Hog at the time. So they were there checking out the studio. But the guy who owned the place was the child of a rich person. He had no social skills. He was wearing a bathrobe and eating hot dogs that he was dipping into raw hot dogs that he was dipping into a jar of Miracle Whip, that when he walked away, we checked to see the Miracle Whip. It was expired. Do you know how long it takes for Miracle Whip to expire?
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
That's disgusting.
He had guitars. He had like Jimi Hendrix's guitars. Like he had like guitars. He's like, this is Eric Clapton's guitar. And he had them all in a pile. Because every time he broke a string, he had to use a new guitar because he didn't know how to change strings. So he had a heap of like Kurt Cobain's guitars. And he had guitars that were supposed to be in a museum, and they were in a pile because as soon as he broke a string on one of them, he had to buy a new one. That's what you're dealing with. And when you're talking about Jeff Bezos or any Bezos or whatever his fucking name is, these people don't serve a function. They just siphon money. I mean, this guy didn't even like start a warehousing business. This guy just like got his dad's money and started buying guitars. But it's amazing. If you're coddled and you're a rich kid, you don't know how to do shit because you don't have to. Anyway, I just couldn't believe that this guy had a closet full of like Dwayne Allman. He's like, that's Dwayne Allman's guitar. I played it for a while, but the string broke on it. So now I can't play it anymore. So I had to buy a new one. So this is Eric Clapton's guitar. I know Eric Clapton. Well, he's dipping a fucking hot dog in some Miracle Whip. It's like, I know Eric Clapton because Eric Clapton comes around because this guy's loaded. So loaded people will have people normalize them. So like Liv Tyler's there talking to this guy in a bathrobe while he's dipping hot dogs in Miracle Whip, and she's treating him like he's normal because he's loaded. Right. So loaded people get normalized. People will normalize them. They think it's fine. They're like, what? Liv Tyler likes me. What are you mad at me for dipping hot dogs in Miracle Whip for? Whew. I'm mad. Okay. So let's, we only have a few more minutes left. So let's go to, now watch these people risk their lives and listen to these announcers try and announce it like it's a regular sport when they're really just waiting for someone to break every bone in their body.
Into the killer whale tank 172 feet below. It is an event of skill, of body control, and most assuredly of steely nerves.
Look at that!
Join us today at SeaWorld in San Diego for
Look at that! Cold brew got me like. Look
the
at
World
that!
Record High Dive Challenge on ABC's
Look!
Wide World of Sports.
That's fucking deranged!
A lady has.
I mean, God's sake. Everybody who's doing this, by the way, is scared to death, and you can tell. Some guys back out of it before they even do
where
it.
the killer whales, the dolphins, and the sea lions playfully dive for the fans. But today, in the killer whale
Meanwhile,
tank,
in
there
the
will be a
meat
different
grinder.
brand of diver performing for the crowds. This is the World Record High Dive Challenge. I'm Diana Nyad, and working with me is Olympic diver Ken Sitzberger. Kenny and I
These
did not
people are
climb
both
up here
sadists.
to give you a sort of gimmicky opening, and I'm sure you can hear by the tremor in my voice that this is no gimmick. We came up to 80 feet, and we're standing on a
80.
small foot-square perch to
They're
try
terrified.
to give us an idea
They're
and give you
terrified,
an
and they're
idea
at 80.
of
The
what
other people
these
are going to be at
men will thinking. And don't forget
172.
that this 80-foot level doesn't even represent half the height
And they're not
that
even
they
gonna
will be
jump.
climbing up to.
No, they're just going to announce it and be like, it looked like he
First world
landed
record
pretty
was set
hard.
9 years ago at Cypress Gardens,
Wonder if his
Florida,
lungs
at
collapsed.
131 feet 6 inches. The current world record stands at 170
I don't even know how
feet.
they
That was set
erected that
last year in
tower.
Orlando, Florida,
I don't
at
either, and
SeaWorld.
neither do the divers. The divers are like, it's pretty shaky up here. And they're like, really? We heard it was pretty stable. Oh, well, have fun.
When I say attempt, that's exactly what I mean. Because last
Yeah, when
year,
you're like a
5
cliff diver,
competitors,
today people
5
jump
divers
off,
sustained
you know, pretty high, like cliffs,
Today, the
but they're not
conditions that they're dealing
shaking
with
and they're
are
not
more
loose
difficult than
and
Well,
anything
no,
they've
people
ever
embedded
will
in the
jump.
ground.
People will jump off of towers, but not one this high. I mean, this is the highest. This is the world record. No one has ever. This has been beaten by 2 feet by some guy jumping off a cliff.
Yeah, they're
And
all
that guy
covered in
landed
tats and
really.
all
That
that
guy
shit.
and that guy landed really badly and almost killed himself.
Yeah.
So this is like the peak
Yeah.
of the dummies. These people are crazy who are doing this, and these people who are announcing it are sadists and murderers.
They're encouraging it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. And they keep trying to be like, ha ha ha. It's going to be so funny to watch. You know, it's like, it's just very funny because the whole thing is a sideshow. This is a killer whale tank at SeaWorld. The temperature of the tank is like 50 degrees or something. Thank goodness they took the whales out of it at least. Look at Don Colombo. Cold brew got me like, God's sake.
Cold brew got me like.
Hit me that heavy metal.
Well,
one.
they had to have it here because it has to be deep enough because they go so far down.
Right, but I'm surprised they didn't leave the whales in there. They're like, and Diana Nyad would be like, they were unable to remove the whales for some reason. So the divers will also have the difficult task of dodging the whales because if they land on them, they're definitely going to shatter their neck column.
I sat down and you told me that you were comfortable with your, you drew the first position, you were the first diver, you felt like you could do the best dive. You told me that you had trained at a fitness center, that you got your legs in shape. Somewhere along the line, there was a miscalculation. What do you think it was? Is it the conditions?
This guy was totally lying.
Let me start by re-explaining. I trained at a gym for the physical side. I had my wife give me nutritional advice for the other half of the physical side. I did a lot of mental preparation for this event, and there's one other part
I kept
that makes
smoking.
sense. It's called logic.
Yeah, I
Everything
gave up
went
smoking
right.
for
I drew
10
the numbers,
days.
the mood was right, the place was right.
Yeah, that's
When I
people
hit
used
that
to
pool
do
at
that.
130, it's been 5 years since I've been that high before. My legs just weren't ready.
Rick Winters was
Oh, so he's the one who backed out of it.
30-foot level. Like the others, he did not
Can you
need
pause it for a
high-
second, Eric? Okay, so they did a qualifying dive from 130 feet, which is already fucking high as shit. And a bunch of guys dropped out after the 130. They said, fuck this. And that guy they just interviewed was one of them. And I think it was partially because his mustache came off.
All right, kill shred.
Oh, my wife gave me a nutritional advice. She's like, you shouldn't have so much hamburger helper. You can't have that much hamburger helper on dive week. What are you doing? Stop. Stop eating so much licorice. It relaxes me. It relaxes me, honey. I have to. Stop it. You can't eat that much licorice in dive week. This is going to be a high dive. Stop playing with that 8-track machine and talk. Look at me.
We have some deniers in the chat. Kill Shrednar says 192 is the record now, set in 2015 by a Swiss diver of Brazilian descent.
Who cares if he's Swiss of Brazilian descent? What's that guy talking about?
His name's Lazario Shala.
Who cares? Is that a cold brew thing? I guess we should hit cold brew. Got me
Cold
like. 'cause his
Brew
name's
got me
Lazario.
like.
I guess Lazario is a pretty cold brew name. Hello, I am Lazario, the high dive champion. Cold brew got me like.
But I bet he was covered in pads and a helmet.
Okay, yeah. I mean, 192. Who is this person?
Kill Shrednar is bringing us the information. It was the diver's name's Lazaro Schaller.
Okay, well, I mean, that may be one person who did it, and I bet they didn't land very well, but it's still in the neighborhood of 172 feet. I know that this was a world record for many, many years, and you can see these aren't regular divers. They aren't like Olympic divers. It's not like you're going to be able to see these guys jump at the Olympics. These are sideshow divers. These are guys who make a living jumping into little tanks of water for people who pay $4 in Kansas or whatever back in 1978.
Before we go on to the next diver, Gem City record collector said that mustache acts as an aerofoil.
Exactly. But I mean, that thing almost was torn off him. I mean, these people almost get, one of these guys almost, in the end, one of these guys does almost get killed. And a bunch of them just won't do the jump. But look, let's see what this guy has to say.
170 feet. Because experience plays such a big role at these heights, no one doubted Bruce's ability to qualify, and he did so with 5 yes votes.
Mike Foley, another veteran high diver, experienced some problems during his dive. He was not totally stable. But 3 out of the 5 judges voted yes, so he did qualify for 172 feet.
You have to qualify?
Yes. Oh, there's our man. This is Dana Cousy. This is the one who's not intimidated. This guy's like, man, I've been just living normal recently. I've been smoking a lot, watching a lot of TV. I'm ready.
Dana Cousy holds more world records in high diving than anyone in the sport. He kids that he was a graduate of the School of Hard Impacts. 5 go-aheads for Dana.
They call him the slippery
Charles had never
stepdad.
dived from this height before. And again, no problem. 5 yeses.
6 of the 7 qualifiers will climb up to the 172-foot level.
They should show the IQ scores of the people right next to their heads.
Can you turn it down real quick?
Gingerly climbing back down toward poolside.
Can you turn it down real quick? We can keep rolling it. So what's interesting to me is, who the hell's that? Oh, I thought it was the inside of the dive. Like, now we're going to take behind the scenes look at the dive, So I want to know who these judges are, because obviously these judges are going to say yes to these people doing it because it's a TV show. They want to have as many people break their necks as possible. What kind of corrupt judges? They approved everybody.
I'd like to see the check stubs from this event. Like, this guy probably made $175.
That's exactly right. Before taxes. It's like, God damn it. You know what I ended up making from that jump? $85. And I lost one of my kneecaps. All right. So this is high enough that okay. The other great thing about this, and we might need to roll it back a little, and we'll wrap it up and we'll do some more next week because it's been a long time now. So we'll continue watching this a little bit next week because it's
He's stretching out. He's stretching out.
Well, no, this is the best thing about it. Power directors,
Is he interviewed right now?
They make these guys talk to them. These guys are frightened out of their fucking wits. They're diving because they have to pay their mortgage on their fucking double wide or whatever's going on. These people are not doing this because they have a lot of money. And they're not doing it for the artistry, really, for the most part, because you don't get any respect for jumping to your death. You get respect for being Greg Louganis, or you get respect for doing artistic dives off a 10-meter board. You don't get respect for, this is the equivalent of, as I've said, this is the equivalent of sideshow stuff. So these guys aren't doing this for reputation. They're doing it because they've got alimony. So, Alimony Joe up here on the ladder. Anyway, to add insult to injury, these guys are scared out of their wits, and they have an intercom up there, and they have to do small talk on top of it. You'd think the one thing you wouldn't have to do in the high dive business is small talk, but leave it to the goddamn capitalists to make you fucking do small talk and risk your life. So let's roll it back so we can hear this guy nervously answering their question. How's it going up there? He's like, it's pretty high. They're like, yeah.
All the divers have consented to talk with us briefly through a microphone up on the platform. We may get a word in
Because
with
they had
some
no
of them.
fucking choice.
Rick, can you hear us? This is Kenny and Diana down at poolside. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Well, what do you think, buddy?
Somebody's gonna vomit.
This thing's getting higher
Yes, I
every year.
can.
You got that right. What's your
His
feeling?
voice when he was on the ground, his voice was like, yes, I can.
Oh, no, I'm going to do it.
Yes, I
No
can.
doubt, huh?
No doubt.
Well, Rick, you looked beautiful on your 130-foot dive. Is that about the way you're going to put it in this time?
Well, I'll try to be a little cleaner. Never hurts to be a
Put it
little
in.
cleaner.
What if
All
he
right,
was
we're
like,
going to leave you to
fuck
your own
you?
thoughts now. Good luck to you.
That's what I would say. You know what I mean? Like, how about fuck you? Can you leave me
He
alone?
certainly appears to be ready this year. He's shaking the ladder back and forth, but the ladder, I've been told, is
He's
as stable
shaking
as
the
it's ever
ladder?
been any previous of the 9 years.
Look at this view. This is not only SeaWorld,
shaking
it's all
the
the
ladder.
surrounding areas in the Mission Bay area.
Can't
Here,
shake
right
a
outside San Diego.
172-foot ladder. Fuck. He's shaking the ladder. That's like
Getting
setting him
his
up. Well, he was shaking the ladder, so that's why he broke
supporters
his
in
neck. You
place.
can't sue us. He's shaking the ladder.
This is Rick's wife, Barbara, one of the first
He's a notorious
women
ladder
divers,
shaker.
and his little 2.5-year-old Holly, and the 2.5-month-old
They're like,
Scarlett.
what did we
I'm sure
do to deserve
concerned for
this?
his
Why
safety
doesn't
at this
Daddy
moment.
have a normal job? Why is
Rick has
Daddy in
chosen
the
his favorite
sky?
dive. It's a 3-position back somersault.
Oh, shit.
Just falls. Oh, he's
Oh,
gonna hold
no.
it. He's moving a little too fast.
Oh, no.
I'm sure he's not hurt.
Now, the crazy thing is this fucking announcer keeps going, he's moving too quickly. Like, he says a bunch of things where he's like, he really,
Did he live?
he
Yes.
did live. But the announcer keeps saying, like he says he speeded up, like as if he has, he's always like, he sped up too much there.
Yeah, you know why he sped up? It's because he didn't move at all.
Yeah, it's called gravity. I mean, it's like, what is he talking about? He's like, oh, he got to the,
You're supposed to do some flips and some twists or
oh,
something. I
this
think
is
that
a
helps
survival. He does the best trick you can do. If you can't do, if you can't, look at these guys.
That's what he did was the speed.
Who are they? That's the Gambino crime family. That's the witness. That's the witness protection program right there. Everyone in there is a Gambino associate. They're like, I don't know what these rate the dives. I don't know. It looked all right. He didn't do many flips. All right, 6.5. You imagine the nerve of these guys, these good humor men? They look like old time good humor men or soda jerks or something. Give
Those guys
somebody
are
a
in it for
7.
the free hat.
I mean, how mad that must make that diver to get a 7 from these fucking people, like these anonymous guys behind sunglasses. Like, I bet they want to throw him off that tower and give him a 4. You know what I mean? Like, how do you like that? A 7.
That guy was going so fast in the air. I'm surprised he didn't start a fire.
Well, no, one guy's has tape on his knees and it comes back like it looks like it's shredded up like confetti. I mean, it's like a fucking crazy thing to do. I'm surprised I bet they had to get the airplanes to stop going by during this.
7, 6.5. They dropped the high and the low score, add the 3 middle scores together, and Rick Winters sets a tough precedent for the rest of the divers. The second diver up will be Rick Charles. He, like
I mean,
all
I
the
wouldn't even
others, is
climb that
worried
thing.
about the impact
Yeah,
going
you know,
100
Rune
miles an
Arledge
hour.
is
Kenny
back
talked
in
to him
the
earlier
in their
about
ear
that.
saying, "Make it seem like a real competition."
Oh, here he is. Let's see what Rick Charles has to say.
It's what's going to happen when I hit the water. So I've been doing a lot of training in the off season. I've been putting on exhibitions in marine land in Southern California in similar conditions, cold water, cold air, so that my body is in diving shape this year. Doing a lot of running in the sand, a lot of bike riding to build up my legs, a lot of weight training for my lower back, so that I hope that I'm going to be in physical shape, enough physical shape to withhold the impact.
Consider this demonstration of the impact of which
Didn't
Rick
you mean
Charles
withstand?
spoke.
Did you
solid
mean
block of
withhold or
ice
did you
filled
mean
with some fish
withstand?
treats for the whales below.
I'm trying not to get
A block
shredded like
that would take an
zucchini.
axe to split.
Yeah.
A block
Oh,
that
and they even
tumbles
did this.
end over end out of control so that it hits at an
They dropped a
unpredictable
piece
angle.
of ice
It's
off the
shattered
thing to
into
see it
1,000
shatter. They're like, this would
fragments, as you
happen.
can
This is
see,
what might happen
as
to
it
the
hits from
divers. Back to the competition.
172 feet. Now,
I'm not
imagine
kidding.
the
Okay,
diver
listen,
to
we're
be
about to
that
wrap
block
up the
of
show.
ice,
What
What
was
out
that?
of
Was that a
control
piece of
by
wood?
impact
Take
time.
it back a little bit. Can you take it back a little bit, Eric? And we'll continue with this next week. But I don't want to. How are those power directors doing?
James Eric's got the last 2 comments as far as I can see.
Okay.
For the
Well,
whales
we're
below.
almost done. But I don't want to
A block that would take an axe to split. A block that tumbles end over end out of control so that it hits at an unpredictable angle.
A
Is
block?
shattered into
Is that
1,000
cement?
fragments, as you can see, as it hits from 172 feet. Now imagine the diver to be that block of ice, out of control by impact time.
Ice.
After reaching an acceleration speed of 100 miles per hour, if he is off by the time he breaks the surface, he may easily break bones, tear ligaments, and even damage internal organs. Now back to the competition.
She
There's
said
something about the
she said
element of
excitedly.
risk and danger that excites a crowd. And this crowd here at SeaWorld looking up at Rick Charles.
She said as
24
she
years of age,
stirred a pot of human blood with a
some
femur.
of them giggle nervously, all of them looking straight up 172
All right, we're going to go
feet.
back to this next week. All right, let's pause it. We'll get back to this. We'll do a little bit more of this next week. I don't know how long we're supposed to do these shows.
No, that's good. That's I think that was good.
I think this was a lot of fun, and and I'd like to thank Eric Wilson for making this stuff happen, and I'd like to thank Greg Crofton. And if you want to follow Greg Crofton, I recommend his Instagram highly. He takes really beautiful photographs.
And check out my website, Channel Nonfiction, where I review documentaries.
Channel Nonfiction is the main thing, but I also just want to toot Greg's horn for a minute about his photography, because his photos are absolutely beautiful. And anyway, I don't want to hype him too much, but just go check out his Instagram. It's
your
at
Patreon
Channel,
is the point, right? We need
at Channel NF
that's
on
Twitter,
Instagram.
yeah. No, on
Oh,
Twitter.
on Twitter. Okay, Channel Nonfiction on Instagram. Follow Greg, and follow Greg on at Channel NF on
Twitter.
On Twitter. And
your Patreon.
You can follow me. You can go to my Patreon. Chris Crofton is the Patreon. Just go to Chris Crofton. Just type
left the room by now, but no, I'm just kidding.
Patreon.com/Chris Crofton. And I put up a song that was partially. I'm going to put up some more interesting stuff, like maybe some demos and things. I put up one demo for a song, something I've never done before. And yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you next week, Tuesday
thanks,
night.
Eric.
Cold Brew got me like.
Thank you.
It's the middle of the night, and I'm sure